Today we're going to be talking about a software called Spark AR. It's a Facebook made software which is completely free for anyone to download and use. It's a really cool software, very easy to use, and it's so much fun and kind of addictive. So once you start making your own filters, I'm pretty sure you're gonna, find it very difficult for you to stop because of how easy and really fun it is. Once you download it, it's just going to ask you to sign in using your active Facebook account. The reason for that is because when you publish your filter, it needs to be published onto a specific, assigned to a specific account. Since Facebook owns Instagram, this filter that you create can also be used on Instagram. I'm going to show you what Spark AR Studio looks like once you sign in using your Facebook account and have it downloaded on your computer. So this is what Spark AR Studio looks like. This is a really awesome, like I said, very easy, user-friendly software. So what Spark AR does is it creates a bunch of templates for you here so you have that you can play around with. And these are kind of really fun things that you can, practice on. And then they also have this Learn tab here with tutorials. So if you want to get more in depth on how to create advanced things, you can definitely check out their Learn tab and see all the different tutorials. Oh, it opened up something else. Okay, all the different tutorials it has a ton. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make, I guess, 3 different filters. In reality, just 2 different filters. With working with material objects, so 3D objects, as well as creating a fun frame that you can use for your filter. So we're going to start off by doing a blank project, which is right here. It's this plus sign. You're going to click on that. So this is what our AR Studio software looks like. This is once it's open and you're creating a new project, this is where all the magic happens. Right off the bat, we have our really cool model guy here who's kind of moving around to show us different angles that your filter is going to be working with. And then right in the center, you kind of see this imaginary phone and kind of the angles of what the camera views when you have it on a camera setting. Right here on the top left side, we have what is called our scene little toolbox. This is where we have all our layers within our filter. So you're going to see all our layers kind of accumulate here, and you're able to click on them to kind of see what is going on there. Right on the bottom left, we have our asset box. This is where you import different objects, like if you're going to add a hat or glasses or things like that. Then right here on the top left, we have our workspace button, so you can always go back to this. And then we have our video button. This is where you get to see real-time simulations. So you can change your different models to kind of get, skin tones and hair types, beards, to see how your filter works on these different characteristics. So we're going to stay with our main guy. And then what's really cool is that if you want to see your filter real time on how it would look on you, if you have a built-in camera on your computer, you can click on the FaceTime HD camera and it should open up, and here I am. So you can definitely see your filter on yourself. We're going to stick with our main model here. And then right underneath our camera, we do have the pause button, which will pause our model in the position that he's currently in, or we can completely stop it, or we can go ahead and press play, and he'll continue doing his little motions. So those are the basic functions right now, and then we're going to get more in depth into these functions. We're going to start with our first project, which is adding accessories. So we're going to be kind of working in layers, and I'm going to show you how to create kind of a mask feature, and then from that mask feature you can add accessories like a mustache, for example. So we have a new project opened up, and go ahead and change your little model if you'd like to, if you want to keep it just on your camera. And then right here under our scene box, we're going to click on this plus side. We're going to add another layer to this. Click on that, and we're going to scroll down to where it says face mesh, and we're going to click insert. Now this is going to create a layer right on top of our video showing where we want our objects to be placed within our filter. So there's a lot of fun things that you can do with this face mesh. And one of the things is creating these like kind of creepy but fun looking masks. So you can go ahead and we're going to add color by clicking the material option right here. There we go. And when we click that material button right on the right side, it was a plus sign that looks kind of like this one. It creates this object here, which will be down on our assets. So this is kind of where things start collecting so we can see what kind of objects we want to add to our filter. So we're going to click on the material and it's going to open a whole new set of options. Now this is where it gets a little fun. You can play around with the color, and as you can tell, the mesh has disappeared and now it's a solid white. We can change the color of our mask by using this really cool color wheel. So we can play around with that. I want to do it like a blue. And like I told you, it's a little creepy, but you can definitely do that. We're going to keep it white. And then here you get to actually add textures to your mask. So this is kind of where your first filter comes into play. So you can add a texture by going, if you download any patterns off of Google or anything like that, you can choose the file. I download this really fun orange tiger stripes background. So I'm going to click it, open it, and it gets added onto my mask. So now you've technically already officially created your first filter. And just based off of this, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a fun little trick about this software is you can actually test it on your device. So I personally have an iPhone, but you can do it on an Android. You need to connect your device to your computer using a USB cord. And I'm going to actually turn on my camera for this so that I can show you. So you need to connect your phone with a USB cord to your computer. And you need to download an app that's called Spark AR Player. And this is an app on your iPhone, your Apple store, or your Android store. Once you download that app, you can open it up on your computer, and it shows the app that you just created in real time on your device. So you open up your app and you click on this bottom left corner. It says test on device. It's a little rectangle with an arrow pointing to it. And you can click, it should already show you your device that has been logged in. You press send and it sends it straight to it. I'm going to take a random picture and it's going to look a little creepy. And you take a picture with your new filter. What's really cool about this app is that all your filters that you've created and tested will be saved on here. So you can use that as a type of camera. And so you can take pictures and videos and have your own personal filters without having to share them to the public. Now, let's say you do create a filter and you do want to share it to the public with anyone can use it on Facebook or Instagram. You can go down here underneath that preview app one, and it says publish. It's a square with an arrow inside of it. Now a box will pop up, and this is where you publish your new effect, or you can update an existing one. But for this instance, we want to publish a new one. It's going to ask you to record a video using this new filter, because if you haven't seen on Instagram and stuff like that, when you use a filter, normally it has an example video of what the filter looks like. So you record a video for that, and you add an experience. So you want to make sure that the experience is for Facebook. And so here we are going to add an experience. It's more of a sharing experience. Let me go ahead and insert it. You can also do some for video call. And then here, make sure that the Instagram, or if you just want Facebook or just Instagram, you click those and you press done. So those are, it kind of make sure that it fills the requirements it needs, and you click upload. Now, when you click upload, it might take 10 to 20 days to get approved. So Facebook has a whole department which approves or denies certain filters to make sure filters are appropriate for anyone to use. So that's kind of how to upload your filter globally, I guess you can say, and how to test it kind of individually, so on your phone. So we're going to go ahead and take off our, let me first turn off my video. We're gonna take off our tiger stripes off our mask because now we were like, we actually want to add a mustache to this filter, not have a tiger stripe face. So we want to take that texture off. So all we did was click the little arrow and then we clicked remove. We're going to go ahead and add an asset. So right down here on the very bottom, there's a plus sign. Click on that. You're going to actually click on where it says search asset library. So Spark AR, they partnered with a company that makes, that is a database for 3D objects. So we're gonna go ahead and type in mustache. So this company is called Sketchfab. You might be asked to create an account on Sketchfab in order to access all their 3D objects. And it's a free account. It just requires an email address just so that you're able to download their materials. So we already created an account. And so we really want this mustache on our filter. So we can go ahead and click import free. All of this is free because it's two companies that joined together. So right away on our bottom left, you saw a new addition to our assets, which is mustache. So we're going to exit out of this box and we're going to grab our mustache. You're going to click and hold it down and actually drag it up right on top of our face mesh. So we want to make sure it's highlighted and then let it go and it will link to our face mesh. So now it's moving along with our face mesh, but it's too big for our face. So we're gonna now look at adjusting the size. You can adjust the size using the right side options under transformation. And you can use the X, Y, and Z coordinates to help you with that. Or you can use the tools right in the top center. So this first one with the cross with the arrows is to adjust to position on the plane. Then we have our rotating tool, so we can rotate the mustache. And then we have our edit scale. So this is the tool we're going to use right now to change the scale of this mustache because it's way too big. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that that one is highlighted and you see these different lines represent the different planes. So we're going to adjust this blue plane, but it moves around too much and it's really hard to maneuver. That's what's really cool about this pause button on the top left. We can pause our video, so it's easier for us to maneuver, to edit our object. So we're going to go ahead and actually shrink this downward down the Y plane and then down the X plane. We're going to keep playing around with this until we get an approximate size. And you can also check here on the user, on this little example window here. So we can kind of see how it's looking on his face. Okay. And it still looks a little wonky. That's because we haven't played around with this plane yet, which is the Y plane, sorry. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And we can actually move this around if we press like this, so we can see how thick it is. Actually want it a little thinner. We don't want it too thick. Okay. And we're going to make it a little bit smaller. Okay. So we adjust the size, and I think that's the perfect size that I want it. Now we're going to need to move this down a little further because right now it's on top of his nose. We're going to go ahead and click this position, adjust position button right on the top center, the one with the cross and the arrows, and click on our object again. And now we're able to move it. We're actually, it unchecked the mustache. So if it ever does that, the mask and the item or the object move together, that means that they are both highlighted. We just want the mustache highlighted here on the left side. So the software knows that we just want to move the mustache. So now that's highlighted, and so now we can move it around kind of where we want it. I want it just underneath the nose, the nostrils. So it looks a little realistic. Okay, so that looks good, especially here on my model. And the last step is we're just gonna press play and we're gonna see how it moves along with him. And it looks like it's in a perfect position. I like it. All right, so that works. Now, we don't want to keep the mask on. We just want the mustache. So we're going to go back down to our assets under material, which is what our mesh, face mesh is. And we're going to go to the right side, and right on opacity, we're going to go make that 0. And just like that, we got rid of our mask. And so all that's left over is our mustache. And so once that's done, we can go ahead and test it on ourselves. So I'm going to go ahead and change it to my camera. And just like that, we have a fun mustache that we just made. And you can tell like the thickness of it, and it moves around. And then we're going to go ahead and send it to our phone, because that's always my favorite part, taking pictures with these. And so I just took a picture with my mustache, and just like that, my mustache is on my phone. So I'm able to do that. So let's go back to our model. So that is making a either a mask or a fun little mustache or accessory. So you can also do this with a hat, with jewelry, with glasses, all of that stuff you can find in our asset, our AR library, which is right here, search asset library. You can see, we're just gonna search glasses, and you can see all the different kinds of glasses that you can play around with on here. And there's so much more that you can search for. And we actually are going to save this filter. So you can save it directly on your computer, which is really cool, because if you ever want to come back and edit, you can do so. So we just saved it. We're going to exit out. And now we're going back to our main page on our Spark AR Studio. All right. So now we're going to create a frame for a picture. So I want to create personally a frame for if I take a picture in the Forge Maker space at ELA. So I'm going to click on a blank project. I'm going to increase my screen. All right. And in order to create a frame, we would need a PNG file. Now, I recommend you can use Adobe Illustrator or Inkscape. I personally use Canva. And so I created using this, all these like element stuff on here. There is a paid subscription part, but you don't need to do that. I do a lot of this with the free stuff. And so I created a file with kind of what I want my frame to look like. You just need a PNG file. So, and the file size of the frame, it has to be 1080 by 1920 pixels, or it's a lower quality, but it still works, is 720 by 1280 pixels. So that's a ratio of 9:16. So this is where I'm working with. I download it, and this is why I like Canva, because I can actually make the background transparent. So all this other white stuff is going to be completely transparent, and then I go ahead and download it to my computer. Once you create your file and you have that ready, we're going to go back to Spark AR Studio, and we're going to upload that file to the software. So right here in assets, like I said before, this is where you're going to import any material like files, objects, and things like that. This is kind of where you keep all of that stuff. So we're going to go import from computer, or you can click this plus button down here and also click import from computer. We're going to go to our, I think it's under downloads. Yep, downloads. And here is our filter. So you can see it right on the bottom right. A little preview of the filter. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to format this file to work within our software. Now, this file, we just need it to be a 2D flat file. So we don't need anything specific for any of these devices. So instead of automatic, we're going to right away switch these all to none, because we don't need any special settings. And just like that, we have our file ready to put into our filter. Now we're going to go ahead and go to our scene box right up here. and we're going to add an object, just like we added that face mesh before. Now we're going to go ahead and scroll down a little further, and we're just going to add a rectangle right here. And we're going to click insert. So a little rectangle appeared in the center and one appeared right here in our little preview box. So this rectangle is going to be the layer where we're going to be placing our frame on top of. So right here, we're going to go ahead and customize our settings for our rectangle. And so we're going to go ahead and go to the width section where it says 100. Just go ahead and click on top of the 100 and click on fill width. That should just pop out. Then we're going to go to the same thing with the height, fill height. And so now we have this checkered mesh right in front of our model. And so now we're ready to place our frame right where we want it on our rectangle. Now we just need to do a couple more steps. We're going to go back down to assets. We're going to click the plus sign, and we're going to add a material to our assets. So the material is what gets added into our filter. This is just a file. We need to convert the file to a material type that will work within the software. So we're going to name this material. It's always very important to name your layers. So we're going to do forge underscore frame. Okay. We're going to click on it. We're going to get our settings right here, and we're going to prep our settings. So right under shader type, right now it's currently standard. We're going to make that flat because our file is actually just a flat file. And then right here under shader properties is where we're adding the PNG file. So right next to texture, there's this little box with gray squares inside. You're going to click this little arrow, and you're going to go ahead and click forge frame, which is the texture that we added right here. As you can tell, we have the materials and we have the texture. So the textures can't be materials, and the materials need to have the textures. So we're going to grab this over here. Also, I don't suggest you use choose file because you will get a file directly off of your computer. We want to use this file because we've already added settings to it when we told it, when we changed everything from automatic to none. So again, check the little arrow, forge frame. Okay, so we've just added the forge frame. We've attached it to this material. And so that's all we need to do for that. Now we're going to go ahead and click on our rectangle right in our scene box up here in the top left. Click on our rectangle, and our rectangle settings should appear on the right side. Now, if we go down to where it says materials, we click on this plus button right next to it, and our forge frame that we just added in our assets should be there. So if we click on that, our forge frame appears on our preview boxes. And just like that, we've added a awesome frame, and we created it into a filter. So again, we're going to practice, we're going to test it on our device, making sure my app is open. Let me turn on, let me actually change this to camera so you can see me on the preview. So we're going to send that to my device. Okay, it's sent. I'm going to take a picture with it. And then I have my custom forge frame. Oh my God, no. There it is. My custom forge frame that I just took a picture with. Thank you so much for coming. And I hope you had fun learning about this awesome software, and I hope you play around with it and create some really cool filters. If you do, please feel free to share your images with us. We would love to see what you create with this incredible software. Thank you.